Hi everyone, welcome to Canada CPA Online Academy. Today we have two guests with us, the recently passed CPAs and my study buddies. So please welcome them here. They will talk something about themselves. Divya, you can introduce yourself.
Thanks, Deepa, for inviting us to your channel. So, my name is Divya. I am an Indian Chartered Accountant. I passed my CA in November 2014, and I came to Canada last year, mid last year, and I appeared for the CPA in September 20, and I passed my exams. I am working as a manager FP&A in Law Companies Limited.
Shazana, you can introduce yourself.
Hi everyone, thank you Deepa for inviting us. I'm Shazana Lakhani. I have done my chartered accountancy from India in May 2014 and I've came to Canada in November 2019 soon after I started studying for CPA. I appeared CPA CFE in September 2020 and I've completed that successfully. I'm working as a financial controller with EPC Capital, real estate private equity company, and I'm here to chat with you. Thank you.
Thank you. And I'll just briefly introduce myself. So I'm Deepa Mittimani. I became a chartered accountant in 2003, so way back, and I have worked in like finance. I was in practice for some years. I was in teaching chartered accountants, MBA, etc. And then I moved to Canada in 2013, and I took a break there. I was pursuing my career as an artist, totally different from the logical side. But 2018, I went back to accounting career, and this year I decided to complete CPA as I want to pursue my career further in Canada. So, and here we are, all cleared, and we just wanted to discuss like what was our process of going through the CPA, like especially coming from Indian Chartered Accountancy background, that MOU and directly giving CPA, CFE. There was a lot of learning that happens in between when you give directly the final exam. So we just wanted to discuss what were our challenges and how we overcome those. So after the introductions, Divya, would you briefly say like why did you decided to become a CPA? Like was CA degree not enough, or was it not compatible here, or what was your thought process to do the CPA?
Yeah, so although I had a very prestigious qualification from home country, it's everyone here doesn't know about the course and the difficulty level of it. And somewhere down the lane, CPA it helps in your career growth. So and that's the widely accepted concept here. So that was one main reason. And the second personal reason is I'm not very familiar with IFRS and ASPE. I've not studied it in any course. So I was not aware of the Canadian tax laws. So I thought CPA would be a good course to understand and familiarize myself with these things. So these two reasons were the main reasons for me to take up this course.
Yes, definitely. And like, I think we would suggest every chartered accountants to do this. Like, don't wait until long, like me. Just after you're here, just do it. It's completely doable. 6 months of your time and pursue that designation. It opens up a lot of opportunities and growth for you here. And then Shazana, like same, we had the same reasons, but can you say explain how was your starting journey, like finding that information about what is CFE, how the exam is structured,
Yes.
and how, like who helped you in that?
Yeah, so while I was back in India, I was searching for all the kind of information that I might have to pursue while I'm doing CPA. So you must be aware that to get the MOU exemption, we have some preparation, like to get good standing certificate from CA and get our transcript from WES and all. So I actually did all that stuff when I was in India. I haven't waited for me to land in Canada and do that. And that has helped me get the admission quickly
Okay.
because while I came to Canada, I had all the documents.
Right, right. That's a very good point because I see like a lot of people get delayed in that registration.
Right.
Then they don't get that access for the ebooks and then they can't
Yes.
start their studies. So yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
point.
Right. Right.
Absolutely. So I got my candidate ID while I was in India.
Okay.
It was just that I had to pay fees to get started, but I thought let me lend to Canada and then I will pay the fees. And paying the fees is also a trick over here. If we pay the fees at the end of the year, it would be for the last year.
Yeah.
So it's better to pay in the next year. So I actually paid it in January because I was knowing I am not going to appear in 2019. So that has saved my half of the fees as well. So the process was completed in 2019, and then in 2020 I started with the studies. So here I started, but the process about knowing its CPA and all, CA website has also a very good MOU related information, not just for Canada but for other countries. So I would recommend all Indian chartered accountants to keep looking for the information on CA website, which is our ICI website. And as soon as you land in Canada, you have informations of CPA on CPA website. So it's the best resource rather than going to somebody else. And then once you find study buddies, then you will get more ideas about it. But the website is the authentic source of information.
Yeah. And then as you start studying, you keep exploring new things.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. It's because I think the exam pattern is very different, right? From what we are used to in India and what the pattern case study based or the day one, two, three. So it just takes time to just understand the
Understand.
metrics and how the evaluation works. And but you get it like once you start doing
Yes.
it and start solving cases and things like that. Yeah. So like this year has been like all abnormalities, COVID
Yeah.
and everything. Still we are facing it. Hopefully 2021 would be give us some normality in our lives. But just a comment on both from both of you. How was your experience from writing the hotel rooms and COVID? How did it affect your studies and what would you say?
It affected me because, and it affected Shazana also because we were
Yeah.
supposed to write in May and I had almost completed my preparation and the announcement came only in March. So it was a very big shock for me, like, studying everything all over again. It was so frustrating. But one lucky thing is one major difference that I found is I did not have a study group when I prepared for me, but I got a study group when I prepared for September. And I realized there were a lot of shortcomings in my own preparation only when I had a study group, because when you do everything on your own, you don't know whether it's right or wrong. You just go with the flow. And Capstone 2 had not started that time, so I was thinking I was going in the right way, but only when I started hearing how others are preparing and what kind of preparation is required for certain subjects like FR, I realized I had to really do a lot of unlearning and relearning. Things happened. And but as such, there was sufficient time for September. I had a study group, and I would say I made maximum use of that time. And I mean, I put in a lot of hard work in those 4 5 extra months that I got. And very very big special mention to CPA Canada for arranging hotel rooms and making everything so comfortable. And I would say it was one of the best exams I'd written because it was so peaceful, no disturbance, and no people walking here and there or invigilator coming here. It was so peaceful and relaxing. And I think the entire 4 hours or 5 hours I could just concentrate on the case. And it was a good experience, very different experience. And but I think it's something that will stay in my heart forever.
Definitely, yeah, yeah. Even we had hotel rooms and like it was perfect. Like you're like, as if you're writing in your own rooms and
Private
Yeah.
yeah,
space.
private
Yes.
space. So it was definitely very well arranged and very innovative way of conducting the exam. That's
Yes.
that's
True.
that's the credit should be given to CPA that uh, finding that way through all this
Yeah.
mess. And yeah, it
Yeah,
was definitely
very very true. Yeah.
good. Yeah. Anything you want to add, Shazana?
Yeah, so my story is similar to Divya, as she mentioned that we were preparing for May exams, and as we all know that at the end we prepare and give our best. So March, April was the month we were supposed to do our best, but at the end of the March we got to know that the exams is not going to happen. And when it's going to happen, that we don't know. Whether it's going to be in June, July, or the attempt is going to cancel. We weren't knowing about it. So I actually got drifted that, okay, the exam is not happening. So I actually closed my books till the announcement come. And then 1.5 months sweetly I've enjoyed summer because it was my first, and also that has actually created a problem for me because I haven't completed my technicals at that time. So I didn't bother to complete my technical. Actually, I should have at least completed my technicals, even though I am not writing the cases. So that one mistake I did. And then when the announcement came, and between that, I actually got the study buddies. So I started learning with them case studies and all, but my technicals were still incomplete. So I would say that if you have time, read ebooks and complete your technicals before you start cases and all, because that is something is very important.
Yeah, we are
And
very much like, and to go and solve this case studies, and then actually you don't get sufficient time afterwards to go
Go
back to the
back.
technicals or ebooks. So definitely,
Right.
yeah,
yes,
yeah,
yes. And exams experience is good because unlike India, we are doing it's a laptop typing exam. We are not going to write it. And subconsciously, somewhere, our mind is that when it's exam environment, we are good with handwriting.
Yes.
And yeah, our like hand writes faster than our mind, but when it's typing it's not so. So at home also I was practicing in isolation most of the time while I'm writing cases, and the hotel room has helped me because there was no disturbance, as rightly mentioned by Divya. And the hotels were also very good managed, and washroom and all other things were also good. So that was not a challenge, and that was in back of our mind, how will it go with regards to typing and all 5 hours typing. But that was not that difficult as we were thinking.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm thankful that May attempt got cancelled because I got you guys as study buddies. Otherwise, you would
Yeah.
have cleared in May, and it
Yeah.
would not have been help for me. So, uh,
It's
someone's cost
mutual.
Yeah.
lying in
Yeah,
that
it's mutual.
you were in
Mutual.
September. So, um, before we move on to the preparations, like day two was the dreaded thing for our exam. Like every year, I think they do one thing, one day, a little bit surprise. Like day two, also I had in my mind I had prepared that day two, 6 FRAOs. We know that two are going to be something that we have not seen, but we had never imagined that this would be an year where there is no RevRec or no IFRS. So what was your reaction, and how did you reacted on that day after reading through the case? Like what was your immediate thought, and how did you cope up with that pressure on that exam day, Divya?
You wanna- Okay, I'll start. Like I kind of expected it's going to be ASPE because the last two attempts was IFRS, but the topics were like a nightmare, like convertible debts, and we had ESOPs, then stock appreciation rights. It was all new. But to be honest, my brain did not realize the fact there was no revenue recognition. I was I was so upset seeing the topics, and it was challenging. I would say it was definitely challenging. And like, what do you write beyond a point? What to write? Like, I knew what is the concept for convertible debt, but somehow I could not find out the information in exam reference.
Yeah.
I had to write it on my own words. And I realized I had even missed one FRAO only when I was like 1.5 hours before the end of the exam. So I had to do that. I was already in assurance, which was my elective. So it was those 5 hours, I would say, was, I think, the toughest 5 hours of the entire CFE journey. But I think I would say on day three, I was more shocked because there was no IFRS even on day three.
Exactly.
So that day, so I mean, I wanted to make sure that I did not miss something. And I actually spent like that extra 2 minutes to go and again check if it's really ASPE or IFRS. So I
Yeah.
think I lost 1 minute there. So, but that was very shocking. Like, no IFRS on day three also is something that I could not come to terms with it. But later on, after coming home, only I realized that there was no revenue recognition and no IFRS leases at all.
Yeah.
So it
I
was,
flip through pages, like, am I missing something? Where is the rev rec? Like, am I missing something in between the
Yeah.
lines? I'm not understanding in that case, day two pressure. Yeah.
yeah. So it was, I think more than day two, I was very conscious about that on day three, because I thought IFRS probably will at least come on day three, but that was very surprising for me.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I was also like, I read the case and it's like, oh my God, it's like, oh, this is okay, this is something different.
Scary.
And you don't have anyone to look around, like, is everyone's reaction is like that? I'm looking at my person across my door and she's just reading, no reaction. I'm like, okay, maybe it's just me. And then I gathered myself, okay, let's focus on what I know. It's very important to keep that calm and go
Right.
on that. So, like, mm, okay, I know assurance, these three parts I know, I'll start with that. And then I started tackling one thing at
One
a
by
time.
one.
That, okay, ESOP,
Yeah.
why, what do I know? Okay, I know where to go, where to copy the criterias, for where to paste. I know what to like. So it's very important in those 3 days, like, whatever you study, but
Mm.
the final decision is on that day. So
Right.
whatever you have done, studied, time management, everything, you have to apply on that 3 days. And I think that is very important, to keep your cool and approach it as a professional. And that is the real
Yeah.
test, that as a professional, are you
Yeah.
able to handle the
Right.
challenges?
Yeah.
True,
Shezana,
true.
your
Yeah,
point.
so day two, I would say a nightmare for me. I started reading the question, and to be honest, all the day two cases which I practiced, I could find some rhythm, some
Right.
story out of it. But this case, being a private entity, CCPC, wanted to have ESOP, wanted to have convertible debenture. These things didn't fit into my mind. How can that be possible? If it had been a public entity, then they could think of ESOP, because that makes sense for them to have a ESOP, because in public the employees will sell it and then can earn the remuneration out of that. But being in a private enterprise where it's never going to be a public, how the price of the shares will go up and all. So I started putting some stories in my mind that this is not making sense to me. And that was not the time to make that stories, to be honest. Whatever is given, just apply it. So that mistake I did. But I was trying to figure out that is there any hidden AO behind that, or is there any other way out, that I should be tackling this being a consultant of them, that is it you are doing this is not right. They are either they are asking me to give them right or wrong answer, or what they are trying to ask me. I could not figure that out. So I decided, let me keep FR aside. I'm not going to touch it because I'm not able to understand. Let me start with assurance. And I completed most of the assurance AOs. And when I had a time, I looked into the FR AOs, only those which I could understand. And I actually skipped a lot of FR AOs because I was not in a set of frame to write anything which was not as per my thoughts. That was a risk, but I had no time to complete the paper because of this tension and pressure. So I have to leave some of the FROs. But as you rightly mentioned, Deepa, that the pressure is going to be high and you don't know what is going to come. So at that time, we have to apply our judgment and have to give our best at that time. I would say that
Right.
I did my best in assurance, that being my elective, and hence I am through. So at that time, whatever strategy you want to apply, it should come to you. And as
Right.
I was knowing that I have skipped FR on day two, on day three, trust me, the FR was the first thing I picked up. I
Yes.
haven't, I haven't tried to complete my all the three cases. No, I don't want to complete, but I want to make sure that all the FR and MS AOs I am attempting. And I don't remember how many years I might have skipped, but whatever I might have skipped on day three, it's assurance, so that I can balance between all the subjects. And when the results came in, I applied this strategy and I saw that, okay, I could able to balance it, and I have passed in all the subjects. So if the paper is such, if the case is such, then we might have to change our strategy at that
Yeah.
time
On the spot,
On the
actually.
on the
spot.
spot.
Yeah, on the
Yeah.
spot. Yeah,
Yeah.
even I felt that pressure. Like I remember coming home day two, I'm like, okay, tomorrow is going to be IFRS. I'm revising all the IFRS and revenue recognition and things like that. That okay, it was, we haven't seen it today, so it's gonna be tomorrow. But yeah, it was tough, and we rode it through, so congratulations. So
Yeah.
it's a
Absolutely.
stress test as well, it's not
Right,
just
right.
the test of your technicals, or it's a test of your mental ability to
Very
sustain.
true.
It's like in your life as a CPA, in your positions like controller, CFO, sometimes you have those pressurous situation. Are you able to keep your calm and cool to handle that? So it is testing that as well. So it's not just only do you know that specific IFRS or not. It's not that
Right.
the test of that. So I
So
Yes.
many
think
skills are tested.
so
Yeah, a
many
lot of
skills are
skills.
tested. So it was definitely interesting. Now, moving on to our next question. I know you guys started for May attempt, so you had started your studies before. I was aiming for September, so I think I started my studies around February with the like ebooks and things like that. But what would you say your approach was towards the study? Did you have follow a plan as such of study, that I'm going to do this, then this month, this, then that, or you kept changing and going back and forth as you go? So what was your approach? So maybe Shazana, you can tell
Yeah.
first.
To be honest, I had no plan when I started. Just like all of the students, I was also trying to figure out that what this exam is about. Day one is a little bit different, which will have like 40 pager case beforehand, and then on day two, the version one will come. On day one, on the day of exam, the version one will come. Day two is 5 hours with elective being tested. So it took me some time to figure out what's the CPA way of doing things. I understand that they tell us that you have to wear the head of different people on the different cases, what they are trying to ask you. But that all thing is theoretical, I would say. Till the time you start writing the cases, it wasn't clear.
Yeah.
So the approach what I used is that I started with the technicals, especially with the FR, IFRS and SP. I had a IFRS diploma from ACCA, so I had studied IFRS before, so it was not that difficult to absorb IFRS. But yes, SP it was, because we have Ind AS in our mind, and
Yeah.
while I did my CA, it was Ind AS, it wasn't IFRS in 2014. So I had Ind AS in my mind. Then the IFRS came into picture, so I could able to manage that too. Now the SP is also there.
Yeah, it's
So I
that's
used to get
confusion in our mind.
confused.
Yeah.
Yes, I used to get confused. Like, okay, this is different from India, but this is different from IFRS as well. So there, I used to make my own notes, and then I did some assurance related ebook also, though we know that audit is simpler, but still I started ebook so that I get to know that what kind of answers they are looking. But honestly, till the month of March, April, I wasn't very sure about the exam pattern. And then I started writing cases. So as and when I started writing cases, I got to know, okay, this is what they are expecting. They are not expecting deep analysis in taxation and other like strategic and governance AOs and all, but they are expecting that in FR. So as in when I started writing cases and debriefing, I changed my pattern. So it wasn't fixed from day one. I changed it over a period of time.
Right. Yeah. And I think the way I think that at that time we formed our group, like study group of we were six together, and we started, I think, writing the cases we started with day three writing
Yes.
pre like which is not covered in capstone 2. Before that, whatever cases are, we started with day
Right.
3. So what we started was like we used to decide one case, all of us would write it, and we would have a Zoom call, and then we'll discuss what everyone did. So
Right.
Divya, if you could elaborate, how did it help, and did it help? Like, was it? Like how the study group helped you to?
Yeah. So typically, these small tips like how everyone overcomes, their shortcomings. I think that really helps. And the second thing is CPA is all about looking at one issue with from different perspectives, right? Like when you're reading an issue, somehow your heart and your mind it goes like, okay, maybe I should say proceed with this issue, but you can't write like six pros and one con. It should be a balanced discussion. So that perspectives from my perspective could be the same all the time, right? Because that's how I meet. But when I listen to other people's views, it kind of helps broaden my mind. So that is one thing. And the third thing I would say, the mistakes that everyone is making, I could make like a couple of mistakes or three mistakes in one case, but others could not will not make the same mistake. So I get to know others mistakes also and learn from that as well. So I would say that thoroughly helped a lot. Like, and also one thing is, when you're just reading a case, when you're typing a case, it just goes off your mind. But when you open your mouth and talk to someone, discuss with someone, it's going to stay. Like, even
Yes.
the concepts behind it, the tax laws behind it, it stays in your memory. Like even now I remember certain things that we have discussed.
Yeah, our
So
discussions, our jokes and
Yeah.
long Zoom calls.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, we used to have three Zoom calls every week. It's three.
Yes.
Putting aside 3 days on a week is no joke. But all six of us, we did it very sincerely, and I think this study group, to be very very honest, not for this call or anything, I think it played a very 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 significant role in my CFE success, and I'm sure all of you will agree
Yes,
with
yes,
that.
Yeah.
definitely. Like it helped a lot. Like so, some, as she said, like everything you can't figure out, or sometimes what I think is you write something in your mind, you have like 100 things, you put on paper 10 things, and you can't see that, you know. So having a
Hmm.
someone else to like, okay, why I have written everything? I was like, I have written everything. Why I'm not getting C? So like having a some third person to look at your answer and tell you, okay, okay, you had that in mind, but what you have written here does not convey that
Something, yeah,
entire picture
yeah,
or anything. So that back and forth helped. It gave the lot of perspectives and things like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
definitely
yeah.
thankful to this. I think that
Yes,
this was
yes.
the highest, I would say, rank to in my CFE prep. I would say
Yeah.
this would rank at the highest level. The
Yeah. I
help
just
through.
want to add one thing. How group helped me apart from what Divya mentioned. It definitely helped me in that sense. But one important thing is time management. While I was doing my case on my own, I used to drag it. I know that the case is just 70 minutes, but I pity myself stating that I did so much hard work. Let me give 10 minutes extra. Let me give 15 minutes extra. And I used to give like sometimes 1.5 hours, sometimes 2 hours to just to get a best answers. And then we check the suggested answer and we feel like, see, I did exactly same thing what they were asking. So I'm on right track, but I was not.
Yeah.
It was a time management test as well. So when I used to come and discuss with the study buddies, you guys, you used to tell, yeah, I could able to finish on time. And I'm like, if they can do it on time, why am I not able to do it? Is it that my typing speed is the issue, or my reading is a issue, or what is that? So that is also one challenge which I have seen most of the student facing is the speed and completing the paper on time.
Yeah.
And at that time, we want to just write, we know, but we are not looking at the clock. So that is one thing we should be looking into. And group helped me overcome that.
Yes, definitely.
Right, right.
Yeah. So okay, so we are around, we have around 5 minutes. So let's quickly discuss one last point that did you take any coaching as such, and do you recommend, or what was the part of that? So for myself, I would say I took Densmore, and they have some good resources, and they have their very structured approach. But I think for a few things I followed or developed my own approach because it was not fitting with the way I write the cases or things like that. So you can follow the advice, but then test it on your own and then follow what suits you. And I would think that it's not a must to take coaching. I think Divya has done on her own. So it's a good help always, but it's not a must. Like people think that it's a must, but it's not a must. So you can still do it. CPA has great resources. What
Right.
do you
Yeah.
say, Shazana?
So I have taken prep formula, as I mentioned that in initial days when we are not sure what to do. So that is something which I found that okay, let me start with prep formula, and I would say that if you are weak in technicals, these coaching might help you to brush up your technicals, especially because they give webinar and all. But as you know, and with the COVID, this is now normal, but it's not normal for us, especially Indian CAs, to study everything online. We are used to classroom studies, but it is not so here. So when Prep Formula have the webinar in the evening, like at a 6 o'clock in the MST time, after office hours, sitting for 1.5, 2 hours of webinar was not easy for. I was not able to grab anything in my head. So I used to always see the recording classes, and so there is no one to answer my questions at that time. So either I should go for webinar and ask the questions at the right time, or just skip the questions, solve it on your own. So the coaching could only help you if you have a particular time to go into webinar and you understand the webinar language. Otherwise, I would say it's not going to help you that much, provided you have a different style of studying. That wasn't my style, so it didn't help me. I would say from grasping a lot of things because of my time management and all. Not that the coaching was not giving me enough, but it was not my style,
Yeah.
because it was webinar style pattern. But still, going through the videos will help you revise your technical. So you have the resources ready, someone is speaking and you can hear them out to revise your technical. With regards to cases, which is the core of our CPA, it's you who is have to work on it. No one
Yes.
else is going to help you, whether you
Yes.
take a
It's like,
coaching or not.
yeah.
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 So writing a
That
cases is must.
enlightenment comes to your own.
Yeah.
It's like no one can enlighten you, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this coaching also provides you with a mentor who will like give you feedback on your cases. So if you want to take that, some you want somebody else to mark your cases, yes, you can go with that. Or else you can find a study buddies who can mark for you yourself, which we started doing at a later stage. So I would suggest that that is also a good idea to go if you don't want to spend for a coaching. And all other things will be taken care in capstone 2. So I would
Yes.
suggest to go for capstone 2 rather, for marking your cases and getting feedback and debrief on your own, rather than going for some mentors. That's what
Right.
my personal opinion is. Yeah.
Yes. Capstone 2 is a must, I think. I would say it's a CPA has great resources, definitely. And a very structured format. They give access and marking and everything. And that's the best learning.
True.
And for
Very
Yeah.
day
true.
2, I would say no coaching is going to help you. Day 2
Yeah.
is on your own. So please be mindful. I waited for
It's like
last
day
minutes
one
to
is
for day
also on
1.
your own. It's
Day
like
1. Yeah.
so yeah, it's little bit resources help, but there is no
Yes.
one structured thing that this is gonna definitely make you pass. It's not like that. Yeah.
Right, right.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think great discussion. Hope all the CPA students would have something to learn from this interview. And I would say just subscribe to this channel and keep asking questions, and I would try to help you here. And
Yeah. I
Yeah, I
think
would
I
say
think
to everyone, please subscribe and follow
yes.
Dipa. You will get a lot of knowledge from her, and we will also try to get you
And
some more
share it
knowledge.
and share it with your
Yeah,
friends and just spread the good word. So I mean,
yeah,
I think she's doing a great job, and I wish I had these resources at the time I wrote my exam. Like after the
exactly.
exam, I mean, it really helps. Like, so you should all be lucky. So make use of her videos, share it, like, subscribe,
yeah.
and thank you for having
Thank
us.
you so
Thank you
much.
so much.
Thank you.